Episode 45 of Minor Disturbance Radio. Of course, I'm Brian Minor, and as always, Travis Williams is with us. And we got a special guest this time, Chris Urmy.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure that some of the diehard local music fans remember you from, I don't know, Pipe Theory?
Yeah.
What else did you do?
One Night Standards, Mariannis.
Never heard of Mariannis.
No, me either. Brief stint in it. But honestly, I don't know if a lot of people even know my real name is Chris Urmy, too. There's a lot of people just know me as Wurm.
I did for years.
Yeah.
For years.
So, I would say Chris Urmy to people and they'd go, who?
Yeah. Who?
I don't
Who's
know
that
anybody
guy?
by that name.
Yeah,
and then I'd go, oh, and they'd be like, Wurm,
that guy.
Wurm.
Exactly.
See, I remember Wurm from the Music Go Round days. That's probably when I first came into contact with you. You know, every time I came in to buy the leopard print spandex pants that were used or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Well, they're basically half the price of new ones. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know?
And they were all just Travs left over, which was nice.
So,
you know why they smelled like garbage?
What's kind of special about this right now, it just hit me, is like a lot of people that used to go into Music Go Round back in the heyday of Music Go Round are having flashbacks right now.
That's why I wore that shirt. But I didn't tell him, so he didn't have a chance to dig.
I know. I
didn't have a chance to dig, dude. That would have been fucking hilarious.
I got in the car. I was like, damn it, man. Damn it. Because that's essentially, I mean, that's right away when I talked to you, I was like, that's what it reminds me of. It's just like hanging out the go around, shooting the shit.
Yep.
You know?
And back in the saddle.
Yeah, because I mean, if I walked into Music Go Round on a given day, I'd just try to find a reason. I have plenty of sets of strings and picks because that's all I can afford, really.
Right.
Yep.
And so I have plenty, but I'm like, I could always use another 9-gauge, D'Addario set of strings.
Exactly.
I'm going to go check out see what's happening at Music Go Round. And I walk in and I see his 4 ponytails.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, God, please, Wurm, be here. Please, Wurm, too. Because if they're both here at the same time, this shit's about to get real.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm probably going to leave crying and laughing at the same time.
Yes.
As we say, D'Addarios?
Yeah.
Fuck off with D'Addarios, dude.
Yes.
You should be playing these Tomastic Infeld Power Brights.
Yes, exactly. Those were good strings, too.
Let's be honest. Since neither one of you work at Music Go Round anymore.
That's true.
Let's be 100% honest. Has there ever, I mean, I know the answer to this already because I'm probably a victim of it myself, but I mean, how many times has somebody came in there and talked some big shit and then walked out the door and then you guys just had a field day?
Oh, every time.
All of the time.
But here's the fucking thing, though. Is like, I was usually cool about waiting until they leave. But
if I caught wind of it, I'm just going after it.
I think I've been caught in that web before over there. You know?
That's exactly.
The thing that used to baffle me, though, is like somehow then that made you their sales guy. Like, you would rip on people and they would always come back to you. Be like, where's a guy? I'm here for my ration of punishment or
exactly.
whatever. I swear.
Exactly. Well, I'm honest. I'm honest about shit. You know, I'll say, hey, this is, and I think people would pick up on that. You know, I'm just gonna. Yeah, and then I'm not going to salesman you. I'm not going to be like, yeah, that sucks, or this is great, or yeah, this is the best thing ever, just to sell something.
Right.
I'm just going to be honest with you. If it sucks, then it sucks. Or if it's something is cheaper and is better, whatever, man.
Yeah. By the way, your gear sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what it always was.
Yeah, and I. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to have good gear too.
That's true.
But there's certain dudes that spend a ton of money and their tone fucking sounds like an electric ham sandwich. It's horrible. And
that's a great name for a band.
Electric ham sandwich.
Electric ham sandwich. But and then there's some guys that spend next to nothing and their tone's amazing.
It might have something to do with the way you play.
But and I'm not saying it doesn't, and I'm not saying it does, but it's all part of it.
Part of when I was making the decision in my head to go into Music Go Round, part of it is my ego going, okay, you need a check. You need to go into Music Go Round and talk to Travis and Wurm because you need to be put back in your place. Because last weekend was awesome, The vinyl pants worked really well. Everybody wanted your autograph. It was cool. I'm feeling a little high right now. Yeah, I'm feeling a little high, and I think I want to go around, talking about my, my band and stuff. And I go to Music Go Round, I leave there going, yep, I'm just an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like everybody else.
Yeah.
No, it was
Yeah.
always refreshing because you said that, you know, when you said he doesn't even wait for him to get out the door.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait for his first little, but see, when you make fun of somebody, it's not even like you're making fun of them. It's like, it's still matter of fact. Yeah, but you're so like, you know, 15 years ago, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're like vintage, man.
You're like vintage. It's fine. It's fine. That's who you are. Go with it. People are like, really? Is he busting on me?
Oh, yeah, he was busting on you.
Yeah. What the fuck does happen?
He was busting on you.
Yeah.
But we did definitely. How long did we work there together?
I was
and
there.
and it was like we worked together. We saw each other at that store for 8 hours to 10 hours, 5 days a week for how long?
And you gotta. We were together. We worked there for 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, I worked there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, we lived, I don't know how many years at Disturbance.
Right.
So I lived in the apartment up above, and he lived in the apartment below in the same duplex. So not only...
We hadn't started a band yet.
No,
though.
and we never played together, really. So not only had we worked together, we decided to live in the same building together and seeing each other all the fucking
And we never...
time.
had sex, not even once.
Nah,
he totally friend zoned me.
I did.
I'm still fucking upset about it.
Permanent friend zone. Total friend zoned all the way.
So okay, I don't remember. I think I was around for the Pipe Theory days, but I was just kind of in my own world, probably.
Yes.
You know,
because we played shows with you guys.
Well, you're young too.
Yes,
I'm a bit older than you, and so like that whole scene that was happening behind us or whatever, you know, after us or the new breed, we didn't understand it, so we're like, you know, we didn't.
And because we played shows with you guys.
Okay.
Pigpen a few times. And I don't know if we did one of our first shows that you were at. Actually, the very first Pipe Theory show, which was just a nightmare in itself. I don't know if you guys played that one. I
don't think they did.
Were there that? It was just Right.
It
that
was
there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they like tore the whole PA down to set up their own PA and did like a whole separate. Dude. Like snare, I just remember like snare drum check for like 45 minutes, and I'm like, this is horrible.
It was insane.
And
but that night, what was the name of that place? First of all, it was a skate park.
And it used to be where Rampage used to be.
Rampage, that's right.
And it was like Thumper's Grand Central, but it wasn't that. It was closed down, and it was whatever at the time, and like Kevin Lonergan rented it out and would do shows there.
Oh,
Who all was in Pipe Theory?
It was Justin Farley on vocals, Dusty Smith on guitar, and a little bit of vocals, not a lot. Towards the end there, a little bit. I was on bass, and then Lars Berggren on drums. And then the second half was Pat Adamson after Farley left the band. Then it was Pat Adamson who used to sing in Crop Circle.
Okay.
And that's how that lineup finished out.
So Dusty Smith had long hair at the time, didn't he?
He did.
I saw some old pictures.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Beautiful long hair.
Yeah.
See, he's one of them dudes that can pull off the bald head, though, man.
Oh, looks great. Looks phenomenal.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. He had some of the best hair. He had this, like, where he had the in-between. He cut that bowl cut. And I remember Lars, the first time he saw it, he's like, dude, what up, Shemp? He just had the total Shemp look, you know? And we were just like, whoa. And that was rough hair, right?
That
we were like,
is.
because he couldn't give it up all the way. It was like cutting it.
Right.
And then once he just let it go, it looked awesome. That's when it looked good.
Yeah, when he cut it.
Yeah, just bicked it. Gone.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Without being too forward and all that, but what is, when you look back at your music career, not saying that it's over, I'm just saying you know, when you look back at all that you've done already, which one band or entity was the one that you hold, you know, closest to your heart, or one that you really were like, man, that's the fucking band that...
It would probably be Mariannis.
Is that because Travis is sitting here?
Yes, 100%. Earmuffs, Trav. One night standards. No, it's good. It would be. I'm not a metal guy. I wasn't ever a metal guy. I grew up with buddies. You know, Pipe Theory started. What it was Dusty and Lars and I all had off hours, and we went to Bettendorf High. We all had, it was block scheduling. We had lunch and third period off. So we had like 2.5 hours during the day of us three hanging out. And, you know, there's just only so much recreational activities you can do during that time before you're like, we got to do something. We all played. So it was, I even remember it. I was super hungover, and I got the call from Dud and I was watching 24 Hours at Eastwood and eating frozen burritos. And he's like, "Are you gonna go get that bass today?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "We talked. You're gonna buy a bass."
I have no recollection.
Yeah,
of
I'm
saying
like, all
anything.
right, yeah, I'm gonna get a bass. So I went and bought my buddy Bab's bass, and then we just started from there, and we, every day, and that's how we got so tight. And I think like with Dusty and their work ethic.
But wait, you never even played bass before that?
I'd play guitar, but I wasn't a bass. Every bass player usually starts at guitar and then goes, well, fuck it.
Not to cut you off, but I remember the day of like, we don't have a bass player, so we had to find some cool guy to like make him play bass.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Hey man, why don't you go buy a bass?
Find a cool guy.
That guy right there, man. He's got the right look. He's got the right look.
Yeah.
Or if you were, we don't need 3 guitar players.
Yeah.
We need 2 and a bass player. So,
and obviously,
Joey, you're gonna play bass, okay?
That's exactly.
Who's the worst guitar player?
I was the worst guitar player. Dusty was way better, so it was like, duh. So it was me, and that's how most bass players are born, right there. I think,
exactly.
Exactly. So that's how it all kind of started. Right there was we just had all this free time and just practiced every day, 5 days a week.
Why did you name it Pipe Theory?
That came from just a weird dream I had. It was one of my buddies, Steve Tyler, and I remember the dream. It was kind of one of those weird, vivid dreams, and he kept saying it's all about the pipe theory in this weird dream. And I remember getting up and I wrote that down, and it was that never-ending band name search. We were just writing shit down, and no one could ever.
We're not familiar with that.
Geez, we changed, and so that's how we kind of just arrived at that. It was just. I told him about this dream, and it wasn't even like, hey, here's the band name. It was like, hey, this dream was bizarre, and Lars was like, that's it. That's what we're going to call it.
There it is.
So
there it is.
Yeah. And found out later that pipe theory is like some like water pipe thing. It's actually a thing. If you Google pipe theory, there's like some formula or something.
I thought it maybe had something to do with pipe. Like
weed
like
or something.
A weed pipe, yeah.
I mean, you could make it that way, but it wasn't. It wasn't intended for that at all. It is, and I should have just said, "It's all about the pipe.
It's all about the pipe."
Because man, you get high and you have all these theories,
about it. Well, you think.
Well, the level of focus and machine-like musical capability that Lars Berger and Dusty Smith had during that period was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think you can definitely detect it in the way that Dusty Smith operates now.
Yes. I
mean, those guys were both like practicers.
Like I know, like I've heard you talk about 1152 practices. Yeah. Twice a week or whatever. I mean, it really stems, I think, from our high school days.
Anymore, twice a week with everything that's going on with everybody, with kids and all that stuff.
It's insane. Yeah. I don't even know. Yeah.
I'm like,
once a week is tough.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. But it shows, and that was the thing too, I think, is when we started playing shows out, because we practiced like that 5 days a week, every day for hours for a year and a half before we started doing shows. And we had rented a spot down at the old Slowfish building. And that's how we kind of got thrown into the scene. We met bands down there.
What's the Slowfish building?
That was,
wow, what a topic.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. So the Slowfish building was a building down on, what was it? I want to say Federal, but it's not Federal.
Is it Warren?
Are you guys talking about the Harbor View?
No. It was essentially like a dysfunctional Harbor View.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Even more dysfunctional Harbor View. Plywood doors with master locks and shit hinged.
Like we never... The year and a half we rented there, we never took bottles out. We just had a corner and just chucked them into the corner and just had a pile of broken glass. I mean, and we were just like, whatever, that's where you put them, So it was that. I mean, people would squat there, and it was just band stuff 24 hours a day.
Yep.
And so you had like Crop Circle, those guys didn't practice there, but Bird and Pat rented a room just to kind of hang out. There was some, there was other various rooms.
Tripmaster Monkey recorded a decent amount of their second album down there.
Hum played on the second floor.
Yeah, Hum played on the second floor at a house party there. Who else? Chicken Boy, he had a band in the basement down there.
That's where we were,
and he was using my guitar amp.
Yeah, we were in the basement.
Yep. I mean, it was definitely a period. Did Starfuck Tucker have a?
They were right next to us.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which Matt Duncan and Gary Yance and
Beavis.
Beavis and Buddha Roberson. I mean, like everybody that was down there during that time ended up doing stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys rip each other off? I mean, gear-wise, because that's one thing that Harborview started to have happen.
Well, no, it was
shit started disappearing.
It was such a brothership down there that I mean,
that's
I think because everybody had no pot to piss in.
Yeah,
and everybody knew.
And if you were to steal someone's shit, it would be like you would walk in their room and be like, "Dude, that's my fucking head, dickhead," or that's my pedal. Oh yeah. I mean, they started letting DJs come down there towards the end, and that's when shit started getting kind of ripped off. You know. Just because they were so out of that, there's just such a brothership with bands and stuff,
That's cool.
But that's how we started. We started just and then we just started doing gigs, and people heard us, and we just practiced down there, and everybody just peeked their head, and Malcolm and Billy came and saw Lars.
Yeah, see, that's what I remember.
That drummer that we were playing with at the time. Lars, just a phenomenal drummer.
Yeah, very, very talented.
He ended up going to the Drum Collective out in New York. He's still out in New York. Gigs out, I talked to him.
He never
gigs
came
out, does all sorts of regional touring out there with different bands and stuff.
Cool.
But I mean, he used to be a marching drummer. He marched with Phantom Regiment, and so it was just like, you had that precision just with like a kit and just
What would be I mean, if we could dredge up a Pipe Theory track, what would be the one to get up? Like Doug from Rive?
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one, man. Yeah.
Was that the one that Joey heard? A buddy of ours from out on the coast who is on Man's Ruin Records and was in a bunch of stoner metal bands. He was in town visiting a mutual friend of ours named Brian Poole, and he heard some Pipe Theory. Yeah. And his description was, it's pretty rugged. And I think it was. I mean, the thing about it really, a lot of it came down to Lars's drumming in that band. I mean, his drumming was just fucking amazing. So it'd be if I'm gonna introduce a song that we don't know what it is, and it's Pipe Theory, and Lars is a fucking badass.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're back.
Yeah. That was amazing.
That was amazing. God, I would listen to that song all night if it weren't for the vocals.
But I mean, he was. But that, I mean, Lars's whole drumming, his for fun. I remember driving around in the Tempo, and we had the Tempo tanks. Him and Dusty both had Ford Tempos, and we'd cruise around, and he would have one of those tap tempo Tama drum counter that you could do, and he would just drive and have it on a steering wheel, and whatever song would sit and figure out all of the tempos of the songs, and that's just as he's in the middle of driving, of course, smoking a cigarette and doing whatever. Right. But that was like a thing he did.
Yeah.
It was
smartphones eat your heart out.
But it was just such a natural, that's when I, metronomes, and he was one of the few drummers that we could use a click track in the studio and it sounded natural. He knew okay, here's this, stripe that, do that. When we record with Rob,
that's definitely an important skill.
Yeah,
sure,
and to get the feel, that's the thing.
There are some drummers that can do it, but they don't. They don't understand really how to remain with the metronome across different time signatures or different pulses, because it's difficult to do. Your brain fucks with you when you start playing with them. And I know you've done some playing with a metronome. When you play finer subdivisions and things like that, or change the feel of something, it's almost your brain hears the clicks as uneven. You have to account for your own distorted perceptions.
I played with
tough.
99% of the time that I was ever writing songs, it was with a drum machine, which is basically a fucking metronome.
Yeah.
It is.
And so that really, really honed in my timing as far as I could feel something pull and drag real easily.
Right.
I mean, even some commercial songs that I hear on the radio, I'm like, ooh, they're pulling, and then they come back. I'm like, how'd they let that go? It's because they didn't play to a click.
Yeah.
Right.
The Metallica video, A Day and a Half in the Life of, when they're recording the drums, there's no click. That's all just feel. The sad but true, the go. That's all.
It is.
It's such a feel thing. And I saw that and I was like, fuck metronomes, man.
Yeah.
We should do it like that until because the only reason you need a click is to make sure that you kind of, if you're going to cut and paste a chorus, you couldn't do it if
it makes it so all your tools work a lot
right,
more.
right, but
and where where one is or whatever.
But I'll tell you this: I never got so tired of recording that I don't want to record the second chorus, man. I love singing the chorus. I love singing and recording, and also I want to do the backups and everything. I loved doing it. I love the act of recording. So why would I want to cut and paste anything?
Right,
exactly. I've never. Well, I'm a pretty non-digital. I'm pretty analog through and through.
Yeah.
Do it one take. I have tape machines. I don't. And I agree. It's because of that. I mean, you can't. The feel. It's all about the feel of it, man. You can't. It's just not. I don't know. Doesn't seem natural to me.
No. And honestly, I've got sessions of our current nameless band.
Yeah. Seeing here, we should just decide a name right now.
Yeah.
Because I call it Dead Forms, and then when I say Dead Forms, and like other people, you like get embarrassed. You're like,
I don't know.
Well, it's still undecided.
Yeah, we don't know.
And
so I don't have a good answer to that question.
Jesus, see.
Well, let's go back to then Mariannis Forms, okay? Because this is where
I like it. Yeah,
this is where I come into the picture because this is the band that I knew of.
This is where he comes on.
Well, and then getting back to it, I guess what started this whole thing with me too was I'm not a metal guy. Like all those guys are metal. Dusty's a metal guy.
What guy are you? A jazz guy? What the fuck are you?
No. Yeah, that's exactly. Well, I'm kind of a music hater like Travis.
Okay, so you don't like anything.
I hate it all. But growing up though, I listened to a lot of 50s and 60s, and then I was really into like punk rock for a while. And then I was always a Nirvana guy. That was my era. But that kind of led into that. See, my parents were big 80s shredder. My dad loved Metallica and Ted Nugent and Motley Crue. Well, it's not cool to listen to what your parents listen to. So
I get you.
Yeah, boo.
So they hated 50s stuff. So I'd listen to that, Chuck Berry, stuff, Elvis, stuff like that. But I would hang out with these guys and they would listen to a lot of Pantera and stuff and Metallica, Dusty. And so, just as it all, I love to play metal. I just don't choose to listen to it. My wife does. Like, she's the metalhead. She loves that stuff and knows it all. But
I suppose I didn't realize that.
What's that?
That Jennifer's a metalhead.
What? Oh my gosh.
I didn't know.
You should hear her and Shannon talk. They're she's well, she worked at
co-op.
At a co-op.
Yeah, that's
with
right.
Tony Higbee.
No shit.
Yeah, he hired her. I guess it was a Bongo Records or something that.
In Galesburg?
Yeah, in Galesburg.
Yep.
And she was working at a Sam Goody, and she had sent someone down there, and he was like, "Are you that girl that sent someone?" And he's like, "You want a job?" Yeah. So because you had said something about it on the show, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you used to be my manager."
Tony Higbee was the bass player, and for the people that don't watch this podcast at all, they are just now watching it for the first time.
Well, we don't give a shit enough to remember.
Tony Higbee was the original bass player for my band Drop Hammer and is now playing with God damn, I keep forgetting his name.
Tom Kiefer.
Tom Kiefer.
There you go.
So I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, Tom Kiefer now. He's playing lead guitar. He went from bass player and now he's lead guitar player.
Wow, so he actually went the other way.
The other way. Yeah. He's always been one of them guys that was a closet guitar player though. Because when he came up with ideas, he didn't come in and go, I got this idea.
Yeah.
He came in with the guitar part,
and would show it.
Right. Yeah. But I just remember he was one of them guys though that if he got a hold of your acoustic, he would leave fucking skid marks all the way from the fucking bottom of the guitar to the top with a pick. He would strum the whole fucker. He'd hit the body, across the top of the guitar. Because big long, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it looked like somebody does NASCAR on there.
Thank you for the radial scratches. Fuck.
But he tamed that down a bit.
Well, that's great.
But I was a big I was a big fan of Mariannis, and I really dug the whatever it was that was happening. Was I guess for me it was a big breath of fresh air, because what I was trying to do and what my school was a very refined, straightforward, well-oiled machine that kind of got away with a lot of hype sometimes, but we were more visual. We wanted to look cool and sound cool.
Yeah.
And then when you took away the whole flash and the pretentiousness, I guess, is that the right word to use?
I'd be fine with that word.
And you just see people that gel together and make big sounds, and there was something fresh about what I was seeing that I was like, oh man, this is kind of, God, I wish that I was younger and I could get away with that, but I'd already set my track of being
although I was older than everybody else in the band at the time, but but I was just young enough though that I was still on board with Nirvana. I was still on board with that end of things, and I think that kind of what we arrived at, without really having a name for it, heavy or aggressive pop music. That it was melodies and songwriting, like almost like Beatlesy songwriting in a way.
But we've like bombastic.
Yeah, bombastic. I mean, I kind of divorced myself from that word a little bit because the way people use the word bombastic usually means like blowhard, like you're talking too much and talking too loud. Now we definitely.
I think that sums it up.
I'm not saying
we had fucking Marshalls and 810s everywhere.
But I think that what Brian is saying is that even though it was a lot, it wasn't too much.
Yes.
Like it was like it made sense.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I just remember it being very powerful, and it was raw. Yeah. And but I guess maybe I should play. I know that a lot of MDR listeners have already seen the video for it, but I want to play that Mariannis tune. What the hell is it called again?
It's called Torn.
Torn. That's right.
Yeah.
We'll play Torn, and then your famous spot of eating the burrito out of the.
Yeah, we should discuss that.
We will. Yeah. We can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's play that one so everybody's familiar with Mariannis, kick-ass band, and so check this out.
Am I persuaded by the plaintive look in your eye? There was a time when I'd have gone and tried lying to replay the tape of the trial. You had me hung before I denied I committed with the people thought in my mind. The cold-hearted crime of letting you be all alone with no past to keep you warm, and nobody call your own, leaving you torn. Now you got something that amazes my wounded eye. There was a time when I'd have gone and tried lying in a trees, thinking I was mine. It was a time swallowed at home, choked on a line, set by the hook, grabbed by a spine. Neither give up or let it die, keeping the score. Keeping the score. Just lift up your eyes. Can you never realize? This is a shame. Hey, this is a shame. Hey, this is a shame. But this is a shame. That this is a shame. That this is a shame.
and that was it.
was so fast.
Yeah.
So what?
Man.
I mean, how did you guys fucking write? Did you all kind of collaborate, or is that all Travis? Or
It was, well, it was mainly Travis.
Like I would come up with song
but-
ideas. Like
Yes.
I'd have an idea about a guitar part and vocal melodies.
But
and shit.
here-
well, that song in particular, where
Yeah.
did that song start?
God, I don't even.
No, I do know. That particular song was one of the fastest songs I ever wrote. I wrote it in Daniel's basement
Yeah.
in one sitting.
Yeah. And
Right.
it
Lyrics
just
and all?
kinda started.
Yep, lyrics and
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yep. I think maybe Dusty warned me about one lyric and
Yeah.
had me just change the wording of it because
Yeah.
he was saying it wasn't easy. It didn't spit out right. But that was it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was super. That's why you don't remember, is because
It
one
was
day
ju-
we didn't have the song, and then next day we did.
You know, and I remember that song coming together quick. I remember that now. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah. Daniel.
And like, this works. I think we're done. I remember
Yeah.
that whole. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go.
And what Daniel offered in there was turning around the drum beats between the
Yeah.
first verse bridge and the second verse bridge to make it so that it always did this alternating pattern but was
Yeah.
opposite between the verses and bridges, which
Yeah.
I thought was a brilliant
Yeah.
fucking move on his part.
God, yeah.
Wurm supplied obviously the heaviest bass guitar tone
Yes.
of all time.
Yes.
It was around the time that Wurm acquired his 1981 wall bass, which
But that's not the bass on the recording.
did you use a P bass?
No, that's the T-Bird, man.
That's the T-Bird on the recording.
That's a T-Bird.
Really?
So for the bass players out there
Yeah.
that just heard that bass
Yeah.
tone, what were you using for that tone?
That recording was 1991.
Don't tell me.
Okay.
14 Gorilla amps.
You're close. 48 Gorilla amps. 48. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And just all of them just turned to 1.5.
Yes.
Just barely up.
And then individual close
Yeah.
mics on each of them.
Yeah, exactly.
With the mic preamps jacked.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And some room. No. But it was a 91 Gibson Thunderbird bass, just with everything up, whatever. And then a 70s Maestro fuzz pedal, but this kind of particular oddball one that was this big wedge oddball looking thing. I have two of them and they sound totally different. They just sounds one way,
though.
and then that was through 72 SVT head with Tongue Soul 6550.
Tell the camera.
Oh yeah, Tongue Soul 6550. Well, I'm looking at you to verify.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that right? I think that's right on
It's
it.
a rare time where I want somebody to break the fourth fucking wall, and now's the time, dude.
Here it is.
Tell 'em.
So Tongue Soul Black Plate 6550s, all NOS tubes, through 79 810. Which is all plywood cabs with the 810s were slightly different in the 70s. Total nerd talk. So it's basically like 210, 210, 210, 210.
Yeah.
That's how they are now.
It's like
but
four 210s.
now they're MDF, and they used to just be all plywood. For 2 years they did them kind of that way. So that's one of those. And then I think it was like a 57 and a Beta 52.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It was like, that was the miking. But that's all 2-inch tape, man. And we did that down at
the Paris Brothers.
With the Paris Brothers.
With Jason and
Yeah,
Justin Paris.
yeah,
They had
yeah.
an analog studio with a 2-inch 16-track tape machine. They didn't
Yeah.
have the 24-track expansion on their tape machine yet.
No.
But it was all analog.
I'm
Yeah.
debating because
Yeah.
I had a listener ask if there's any chance of a Pipe Theory reunion, but I think I'd like to see Mariannis play a couple tunes at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe the next Allstar Jam we can get that done.
Well, we can't. I don't think we can get our drummer.
No.
Well-
But we could. Well, I don't know. I
think he
seen
quit
I
playing
bet Matt
drums.
Finn could do it.
Matt Finn is a pretty big boy drummer.
Yeah. Well, and I know Dave could do it.
Dave could do it
Dave
too.
could do
Dave
it.
Hughes,
Dave could
yeah.
do it. Dave
Yep.
definitely could do it.
Absolutely.
But we've talked about.
But
a
then
Pipe
you'd have
Theory
to bring your
reunion,
whole
too.
wall
Although
of amps and
for that matter,
I
Duff,
like that. Yeah,
for that
yeah.
matter, Duff Farley could do it because Farley played shows with us.
Farley.
Hell
I
yeah.
forgot. Yeah, Farley. Yep. Exactly.
So-
Yeah.
There you go.
We could do it. We definitely could do it. But here's the songwriting thing too. This is we spent almost maybe even more time with the tone. The tone.
That's right.
Not just in us working together at a music store and living on top of each other like that and being around each other all the
I was a bottom.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
relationship.
power bottom, and just having access to all sorts of musical equipment. We could.
I remember this.
Yeah,
I remember you guys putting together.
We were down to tubes.
Dude.
We were down to tubes.
Oh
we
my
were
God.
putting individual sets of tubes in different channels in amps and seeing what the difference was.
Yeah.
I mean, I had this preamp at the time that was a 3-channel guitar preamp, and what was brilliant about this preamp is each channel had its own pair of tubes. So you could have, the RCA black plates for the clean channel, and then you could have the Tung Sol gray plates or Amperex plates.
We discussed this before.
But then the Mullards, the fucking Blackburn Factory Mullard black plates in the sharp channel.
But you could have just got a line 6 that says British Crunch.
That's it. Button.
I could have got a box of cereal. Said Captain Crunch.
Tweed.
Yeah.
It never really says the brand names.
No,
it just says like something that kind of reminds you of it.
California. But and that was the thing. We spent a lot of time on the tone.
Yeah.
Like that was just as big as his focus of the songwriting as anything, because that was the thing we bitched about with local bands, and just, even the bands we had played in was fucking shitty, terrible tone, fucking crazy GX160s.
Everybody scooping out the mids.
Yeah, I mean, awesome song, but if it sounds like shit, dude, it doesn't come through.
When the whole Pantera thing happened, millions of guitar players fucking lost their ability to have tone because they were trying to emulate that real low end and high end, but they forgot that the mids are your tone. So they didn't realize that Dimebag was actually playing with a lot of mids in his solos. He had, what I mean? He had to kick on a lot of mids. He wasn't playing solos with his rhythm sound at all. And so these dudes are getting out there with their scooped out amps and they're playing all night, and it sounds like a buzzsaw amps. And it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
It's terrible. Yeah.
When you try to, and I've tried to like mix audio that's like that, the level of just fucking trickery and, engineering that goes into trying to get sounds like that are basically incompatible with the human ear to actually sound good on tape. What you think you are hearing and what you're actually hearing are completely different. Man.
Absolutely.
That if you soloed out those guitars on any of those Pantera recordings, you would probably be shocked. How little low end there actually is.
Yep, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, obviously with our rants at the store all the time, we talk about fucking tone and shitty tone and terrible, or that's, that song, the structures there, that's a cool song, but the fucking tone, you can't even go hear it, or the snare, just stuff like that, just being around that. And that was a big part. Like that was a thing from the get-go. We were like, it has to sound good. It has to really sound good.
Like in the room, it has to sound good.
Yeah. And whatever we roll into. I mean, there was a time I was carrying around a D112 AKG mic and a Beta 52, and I'd give sound guy choices of what to mic my cabs, and they're like, what? I'm just like, it was like,
wait a minute, you're relying on a sound guy to
that was another compromise that we hated to make.
And that was the other thing too. That was tough.
I own my own business, and I clean carpet for a living, so I'm in a lot of different people's houses all the time. And I was in Ross Ridley's house. Now you probably don't know who this guy is.
Was that Ross Productions?
No.
Okay.
This guy, he lives in my neighborhood.
Okay.
So he's walking his dog, here I am, my long-haired ass out in the yard, like, hey, man, what's up, dude? And I'm saying hi, and I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, yeah, I'm a sound engineer. And I'm like, oh, cool, man. You ever like ran sound at like Rusty Nail and shit? And he's like, oh, God. And I can tell he just wanted to get away from me. And after he said, but then he did tell me, he's like, no, I do big production stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Big boy. The truth is that he's actually hired on. His job is he does REO Speedwagon. He does sometimes he's worked with the Eagles. Okay. What his job is he actually flies in.
Sure.
And he walks into a system that he has designed. And that he needs there, and he says what board he wants and everything. He walks up to the board, runs the mix, shuts the board off at the end of the night, gets on a plane, and flies fucking home.
He's a sound engineer. That is engineering.
And I got to actually really talk to him. I was like, that's what he does. He says, I'm going like 3 months out of the year, and that's what I do. And I'm like $750 to $800 a day, regardless of what I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and sometimes he's on the job for a few days because it's a big festival show or whatever. They got to get it set up and all the things. I'm just like, and I'm like,
that's the kind of dude that I would just be like, teach me.
Yeah.
Well, how do you get that gig? First of all, you know what I'm saying?
Just knowing people, being in it, knowing.
And then I felt like an asshole from the conversation
Being that
years
dude's
ago when I was like, "Hey, can you run our sound at the Nail, man?"
Yeah.
What are you, like $100? I don't like them guys that are $100 and they don't do their job, man.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a high scream, I want from delay on it, man. You know.
I'm gonna need 3 fully parametric
You know what?
EQs
Yeah.
with high and low shelving and high and low pass filters with dynamics on every channel. You suppose I got that?
Well,
he told me his setup right now is it's all touch screen.
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all that. That's what I was just gonna say.
that's
That's
the way everything
all
is
of that.
now, yeah.
You just it's all right there.
He shows
Shit,
up.
there's
He shows up
dudes
with a thumb drive.
and
Super
just
cool
loads
guy.
it, and and then they just go, and here we go.
Yeah, and
that's it.
he has the baddest house on the block right now.
Yeah.
He just sold it and he moved to Nashville. So
There you go.
And he told me, he said, "Man, you'd be surprised what Nashville's like." He said, "You know, music's cool here and stuff, but goddamn Nashville."
Oh, it's-
he said McDonald's has acoustic artists in it.
Yeah, right.
it's-
No,
It
seriously,
does,
you go
yeah.
to McDonald's and there will be
It's
some
true.
dude in there singing.
I've been down to Nashville a few times, and I always talked about you just whatever dive bar on a Sunday, you'll go in and there's a dude that's like Scott Whitehall just cutting it up, and you're just like, what?
Why?
You know, at like 1 o'clock in the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, you know, but it's a cool town. Everybody's really cool. I like that.
And I want to
town.
give a
It's
shout
cool.
out to Colin Keemley too, because he moved to Nashville.
That's
he's,
right.
he's,
Awesome.
he's doing it up. He got
Yeah.
a job at Guitar Center, I think.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's
All
Guitar
right.
Center.
Yeah.
He's hooked up with that, and he's out
Yeah.
there. He's got his own
Yeah.
place.
Got to get in there and just do it. That's
well,
the way
yeah,
you do
yeah.
it, man.
Business. Absolutely. Hey, you know what? Everybody goes out and tries.
Yeah, you
know what
got
I'm saying?
to.
And of course, I've lived with this my whole life. Everybody's got the odds are with them when they say like, oh, it's 1,000,000 to 1.
Yeah.
You better have a backup plan.
Yeah.
It's like well, wait a minute. Did everybody that has made it from doing what they wanted to do, did they? There is the one though, and you have to get in motion and towards it. Like you said, you have to set forth and get after it. And I admire that, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, me too.
The
Well,
kid's not even 21 yet, and he's already out in Nashville trying to.
That's
to
how
make a
he
groove,
should.
so.
When you're young, go do that. When
Yeah.
you're don't have family tying you down, shit like that, go out there and do it, man. I mean, and however whatever it is that you want, I mean, it varies for different people too.
Would you tour now?
I don't think I would have toured when I was in Pipe Theory even.
Really?
Like, no, that
You're not into
wasn't-
that whole
You
life.
guys could have done it.
Yeah,
you guys could have done
We
it.
could have done a lot of different stuff like that.
What is it about touring that you wouldn't want to do?
I just like for me, it was just kind of not being away from my family and not having steady income. Like
Okay.
I don't like to I don't want to feel like I'm poor ever or like.
Wait a
I'm
minute.
just
You said that
eating-
you were eating frozen burritos.
Yeah,
That's
like
rich
choice.
living. That's rich living.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
That's rich living.
And I'm not saying I have tons of money, but just then I started working when I was 13. Painting barns and houses and stuff, and I always had a job, and I always liked to buy gear and have gear. Like I was very gear driven, and that the tone sound for me. Touring just wasn't. I don't know. I mean,
A buddy of mine asked me because I made the whole decision as soon as my wife was pregnant with my first kid. I knew I was putting down my gun. So I was like, I can't do it now. And then the opportunities come.
Right.
That's how it always is. But my friend asked me today. He said, "So what would it take? I mean, let's just say, for example, that you got the call from Kiss, okay?
Yeah.
And you get to be the new Ace Frehley, and you got to do the makeup, and you got to go on tour with them. What would you do? I'd say I'd pack my bags.
Yeah.
Because they get to bring their family with them.
Yes.
It's a totally different entity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I know that, well, from what I've read, Ace Frehley and Peter Criss used to bring home between, one made $10,000 and one made $15,000 per show.
Yeah.
And they do 200, 300 shows a year. I mean, that's a pretty good income. I think that their replacement people are probably only making $5,000. Now, if you're making $5,000 a gig, or even just a salary $1 million per year, it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Well, that's a good, solid career.
Yeah, it is.
But that's a
Yeah.
good, solid career.
Absolutely.
And I bet they have health insurance. I bet, it's a
But you can
corporation.
you can afford all that stuff.
But to jump on the bus with, like 1152, because, when Mike quits and I replace him.
There you go.
Better stock up on Iron Lion.
I'm just kidding, man. I love that guy. But no, I mean, if it were from the ground up, grassroots, let's go get a van and pull a trailer across the country. I saw it I was on the highway cruising. Me and my wife were on the way to Iowa City.
Yeah.
and
Found a hat.
Yeah, found a hat on the highway.
It's on the side of the road.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
on the road.
gonna
Mark
leave it
the
there.
Calb approved, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we see this truck pulling, this van. We pass this van, and it's got the black trailer, and it's a big cargo van. The windows are all blocked off and stuff. I looked in there, tattooed guy with a beard, gauged ears, looking like this. I'm like, that's a fucking band right there.
Probably with California or New York plates on it or something.
And you forget about that 16-hour drive that they're probably making to the next gig or going home because they live in Iowa City or whatever.
To make no money.
To make nothing.
Yeah. And that, and back to that Pipe Theory, it was mainly Dusty and I really didn't want to tour. That was kind of the end of Pipe Theory. Really, Dusty was just like, I don't want to do it. Dusty didn't want to leave. I was kind of like, it's a lot of work for no pay. Lars really wanted to tour, so that's why he went out to New York, went to the Drum Collective, and he still does some touring.
I'm gonna start some shit now. I'm gonna start some shit. Because I love 1152.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I like that. I like that kind of metal.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It's got to be powerhouse stuff like that.
Yes. And if I do listen to metal, obviously that 1152 is like so close to Pipe Theory to me. It's that
I was going to ask you. What do you think? And be honest, what do you think of 1152? Would you listen to it in your spare time just for fun, or is it something that you're just kind of bored with?
I wouldn't listen. No, I wouldn't. But not because it's 1152 or metal. Just I don't listen to that type of stuff really. I hear it every once in a while. And I'm like, all right. It's Dud doing awesome Dud stuff and Dud singing his ass off and sounding awesome and fucking killer guitar stuff. It's awesome, but it's not something I'm like, I want to listen to that.
Really?
But I played in Pipe Theory and did that type of metal and heard that type of stuff. For me, that's not on my radar.
Yeah,
I don't listen to that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't.
So, and for the record, I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're my friends. I love those guys.
Yeah.
But is not. It doesn't. It's not in my player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not in my player.
Yeah.
I think it's well done. I think it's extremely well done.
Do you know who 3 Years Hollow is?
I do. Yes.
Who would you prefer, 3 Years Hollow or 1152?
1152.
And why is that?
The vocals. I love Dud's vocals. Dud's vocals are awesome, and I always, even in Pipe Theory, I prodded him, dude, sing, man, sing. You can do it. Oh, I don't know. That was a big reason why I wanted him in Mariannis to sing, because I knew he could do it. And
that was actually when I saw Mariannis. Dud was actually to me, he was the only thing that was keeping me from going over the edge and like wanting to get my tits signed by you guys.
Yeah,
and because he did the one thing that drove me fucking nuts. He wore a hat.
That's so fucking hilarious.
I always took the words out of your mouth with that. That's so funny, dude.
I remember.
Fist fights over it.
Because I was like, dude, can we not drink Bud Light and backwards hat like Fred Durst? Can we not do that, dude? It looks terrible. Fuck you, man. It doesn't matter. And he's right. It doesn't. But that was kind of part of the reason I was like, we got to stick a guitar in this guy's hand. Number one, he's good at it. Number two, then he can't have room for a beer in his hand too.
I think that he was still going through that phase where he didn't want to be bald and he didn't know what kind of hair he wanted, so he just wore a cap.
I think it was he just worked in a comfort level. He wanted to be a guitar player. I mean, it wasn't just singing.
And at the end of Mariannis, he was playing guitar.
Yeah,
that sounded great.
Like I said, I thought that he sang really well. But then again, you're talking to a dude that is coming off of like the whole 80s hair metal thing. Right. You either have to have a mohawk or something fucking cool. And so to see somebody, I was tired of seeing bands that were standing up there in like their ball cap and fucking, blah, 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 and their Hawaiian shorts or whatever. I'm not saying he was wearing, but I've seen it all the time. Dude, I'm like, really, guys, come on, get some sort of fucking style.
Jean short metal, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking
short metal.
Jean short metal, dude. I mean,
hey, man,
guys that are up there fucking with their solid state half stacks and their jean shorts and their cut off sleeves, and it's like they got out of the machine shop and just picked up their Alvarez bass and started going.
Their Alvarez 5-string that has 4 legitimate sounding strings and one of them that sounds like nothing.
Right now, Shannon Ford's going, fuck you, man. Fucking bullshit. But yeah, dude, I mean, and there was a lot, that was part of shitty tone in my, I didn't want that type of tone, and we played with a lot of bands like that, but I know exactly what you mean. Like, it's just like, come on, man. And I'm not all about having a look, but just something that's like slightly cohesive.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is like I
no hats.
You guys weren't like that self-conscious to where you guys all wore the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we did on a couple of occasions just to fuck around, but
put on makeup or wigs or anything. You weren't trying to go for. And I understand how he would think like, it don't matter, man. This is me. This is how I am. I'm in the band, right? So this is how I dress, right?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
But for me as a concert goer, I was like, this would kick so much more balls if he just would go without the hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And face it and get in the crowd's face a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
cool. He's a good looking shaved head dude too. You know, with tats and shit. I'm like
spending all that time being a gym rat.
Yeah. You're looking good. Get on there.
Looking virile.
Yeah. But I hear you.
I'm nothing but proud of that kid. I think that, you know,
fuck,
and
dude.
by the way, I have nothing but respect for the guy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, everybody in that band fucking...
But I didn't know him then.
Yeah.
So when I went to see it, you know, with my boys and stuff, I was like, these guys are fucking badass. The only thing is that singer needs to take the hat off.
Take that fucking hat off and put your Bud Light down. Exactly.
See, and honestly, you know, if you were going to pose the same question to me, I'd probably disagree with Urm. And even though I'm definitely closer friends with 1152 than I am with 3 Years Hollow, I probably would be more likely to find 3 Years Hollow in my player. Even though it doesn't make my player either, but because they're poppier. They're actually a poppier band, and I'm just more of a pop guy, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the long and short of it.
See, and then
I just like
the
pop.
1150, the riffs, man. I mean, it's the fucking big grooves and the big riffs. I like that stuff.
It's fucking great, dude.
You know,
it's great.
I mean, I do like that stuff, but I don't sit and I don't seek it out. I don't listen to it, but I don't listen to anything but NPR or nothing. You know, so it's not like I
suppose my opinion about what's in my player really should mean jack shit. So if anybody's got their nose bent out of joint about what would make my player, the fact is nothing fucking makes my player.
Here's something
I listen to talk radio.
I realized this other day. I bought my truck a year and a half ago. I don't even know if this CD player works. I've never put a CD in it. Never put a fucking CD in it.
Removable face?
I don't know. It's welcome face with fucking
welcome to the old washed up man podcast.
I mean,
and we don't know shit about shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
Well, you're an avid MDR listener.
Oh yeah,
that's what you were one though that I was surprised when Travis was like, you know, Wurm listens to the podcast. I'm like, no, he don't.
All the time,
no,
man.
He don't.
Love it.
And then he's like, yeah, he didn't like the one we were talking about video games, and I was like, well, tell him to suck it.
Exactly. No, but then he was all self-conscious about it.
I was like, we can't talk about video games.
And the birth of a complex.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He's
you change on.
Well, that's the whole point, man. You know, it's like you want everybody to be happy. You want everybody to watch a show and be like, I just love everything they talk about, except for that one thing. And they're like, oh, that one thing, we won't do that no more.
And then it's like, you know, if you talk about tubes or something, Trav and I would be the only guys that like that. Yeah,
we'd be like, we need to listen to this show more often.
Everyone else is like, what the fuck?
I think there's 4 other ones.
There'd be 4 other ones.
Did he just say they were Amperexes, but they were lame plates?
I remember lame plates.
I remember being at your house one time, and you guys were talking about tubes or something, and you went into your little basement area and had drawers. Full. He's like, no, I got that 1968 one over here. Something over here. He's like, this tube right here. Well, fucking, you know, I'm like, you're like, that looks like a light bulb. I don't know what it is. Like, is that Sylvania?
I don't know what to do with that.
No, it's not a fucking Sylvania.
No, it's not. Exactly.
That is a real tube, by the way.
And
Sylvania did make too.
Right. But no, and I remember that. Yeah, and that, you know, and that's, and see, here's what's weird too. I was into vacuum tubes and just like, you know, old electronics and all that shit way before I was into playing guitar. I was collecting vacuum tubes and going to garage sales and finding them and buying them when I was really, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old. Like, had nothing to do with them, but just gravitated towards them, you know?
Weird.
And then I started getting into stereo equipment and stuff like that, and I was into vacuum cleaners for a long time too. And
well, you're the fucking junk man, though. You're the fucking junk man. I remember one time he came into work one day and he's got the giant guts of a fucking 1949 oscilloscope from some lad. And he opens it up.
I found it down at Jersey Ridge.
Did you? Yeah. So he opens the thing up and it's full of audio grade vintage tubes,
old,
man.
Like gold pin Telefunkins and shit.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah. Asshole.
I was like, there's stuff in here. I know that.
Yep. I have no idea. I would have been like, junk.
Well, I even remember it. I was driving down Jersey Ridge to go to the bar And I was like, I saw it like out of the corner of my eye. I was like backed up through the back of the fucking truck, took off, and then came in. I was like, check it out. And Trav's like, what? I was like, oh yeah, there's
That's
stuff
a big
in
pile
here.
of junk. But we did. We opened it up, and it was like a fucking gold mine of stuff that. Well, it was just starting to get going. Around the time we were starting to figure out about tubes, so was everybody else.
Yeah.
So everything was starting to go up on eBay.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like whenever you think about, like, if you think to yourself, hey, this something is going to be worth something, just get a lot of it, because everybody else is having the same idea at the exact same fucking time. I swear.
It's like my Ibanez DL5.
Right. He's
delay
still waiting on
pedals,
those.
sound tanks.
Oh, have they gone up?
Like they're $40.
Okay,
They're worth
but-
nothing, but I've obsessed about those.
Right,
forever.
right. The Ibanez sound tank delay, the DL5. You know what? This is going to get it out into the ether right here, dude.
I know.
This is going to crank up your stock
Everybody's
values
gonna
right here.
More, people are just going to snag them up
But
now.
no, but seriously, it's a cheap fucking delay pedal that came out in what, the mid 90s?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Late 90s?
Those shitty sound tanks.
Yeah,
you know,
they're
those
fucking
all black.
We didn't
you
call them
know.
stomp boxes. We called them crush boxes because if you stand on them too hard, they just fucking break.
Yeah.
But it's a killer sound and delay.
Yeah. And
They're
there's
really great
one
delay
sound
pedals.
you can get out of them.
And they're it's amazing, you know.
Look,
so.
man, all I know is that's all great and dandy and shit, but I'm about to fall asleep.
Shut up.
He gets mad at me when I do that. It's like-
Because
I
nobody
love
cares
it.
about
I love it.
what nobody cares about.
MDR, right? I know. So
I love it.
here's what pisses me off. I mean, it doesn't piss me off, but I feel like guitar players now have it fucking made. You know, musicians in general, because they have everything at their fingertips.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
When I was coming up, you know, I had a PV Bandit with like some reverb, and if you when you hit it would do the whole thing.
Had
you know,
edge.
and
Yeah.
I'd have my one Charvel that I had at the time or whatever, and I'm practicing in my room, practicing. You get that one sound, and then you know maybe my brother would let me, or my sister's boyfriend at the time would let me borrow his delay pedal, and then I would have oh my god, and I wouldn't want to give it back. I hope he forgot I had it. You know, like, you know,
exactly.
and so then I heard what delay did, and I was like, that changes the whole
Everything,
game.
yeah.
You know, and now we sit out on his deck, you know, at his house, and we, you know, have a few beers, and we just traded guitar back and forth. He bought a San Dimas Charvel.
Oh, sweet.
You know, he's retired now, so he's buying whatever he wants.
He
You
got
know,
some good shit. That's awesome.
So anyway, we sit out there, and he's got like a Line 6 or some Spider type thing, you know, some you know,
Fucking
simulator.
Yeah.
And you just put it on something great with nice delays, big delays, and nice distort, and we sound like fucking gods, you know.
Yeah.
You can just go. You're like, Jesus Christ, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not really,
You're not,
but it has all the guitar players that play through that think that they're awesome, and it's just got everything at your fingertips, man, right there.
And even like the headphones sound awesome with it too. I have a little pod, and it's fucking
but you
sounds great,
imagine
man.
being a guitar player in the 60s, you know, when you got like the old Marshalls, you know, it's just a dry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It was loud and loud. That was it. There was no like quiet with it. And that's if you could find a Marshall. You know,
although I think about that, and you know, the truth be told, the best, crunchiest, most modern tones that I've myself gotten so far, the most usable ones, I actually accomplished with vintage equipment. I mean, I was really using vintage circuitry, and that's the thing that kind of plagues my mind, is the idea that actually they had everything they needed in order to get these kinds of sounds back then. They just didn't know how to do it. They didn't have it in mind that was something they wanted to do, you know?
Well, but I also don't think it was accessible too. I mean, you got to remember some of the list prices of these amps. If they were $900 list price in the 60s, that's insane. I mean, it was like buy a fucking car or that.
Yeah.
You know?
When I was coming up, you know, the Marshall stacks that you saw in the Rip magazine and all that shit. You know, you go find the store that has, you know, Marshalls. You're like, I'm gonna get a paper route, and I'm gonna never mind.
Nope.
You see the price, and you're like, no. And like you're like, shit. How in the hell do they have like 6 stacks behind them like that? You know?
Because once you don't need the money, then they fucking just give them to you. I mean, that's the fucking problem with all that shit.
I remember.
So mad.
My brother had. I'm sorry. My brother had the JCM. You know,
the 900,
he had
the
2000.
Oh, the 2000. Gotcha.
And he bought that, and he had the 1960 slant. You know, whatever cab, and he just liked to look at it. He had a drum set in his basement. You know, just look at it. That's cool to have. And you know, time went by. He sold the cabinet for some reason. He wasn't thinking. He thought I'd buy another one someday. And once he got that amp that, you know, does with everything. That JCM 2000 is like, what am I gonna do with that?
And we do that, but we do this all the time. It's like we'll play through other stuff and think, yeah, man, this does sound pretty good. But then we go back to the old shit and we're like, oh yeah.
I played through a JCM 900 before with a Les Paul, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Well,
we've had our discussions about practice amp tone versus, you know, big amp tone or man amp tone.
Because you don't get that instant gain that you think you're going to get.
It's sloppy. It's almost like there's the latency in the pick strike and the sound on here.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite.
It has more of like an overdrive tone to me. Like it's more overdrive. It's not like people think it's going to be this big crazy distortion, and it's not. It's not. It's more of this overdrive.
That's what I'm saying. Is like you miss the sponginess of the super amounts of gain that you get that makes it so you have this this pick attack that's just not a realistic impression of where the actual pick attack is. Whereas when you plug into the big amp, it's stark.
Yeah.
You have to everything that you do comes raging out of that speaker, and you're fucked if you're not in control of it. I mean,
there's no hiding it. Here
no hiding it. There's nothing to hide behind.
My wall bass is that way. My 81 wall bass is just it's just here it is. You know, there's no fibbing.
When we were playing in Mariannis, one of the things that we did that used to drive sound men crazy, but probably was something that the audience, save for a few people here and there that just didn't like loud music, was that we turned our amps up, man. I mean, a lot of the tones that we were getting, we were sticking our ears in the speaker and very carefully finding out what the upper volume limit of our stuff was and figuring out how to balance on the high end of the amps, which that's something that, I mean, we don't do that now.
No.
We don't do that now, but I mean,
we're plug and chug and whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But at the time, I mean, that was where we were living. You know, we were living right at that edge, and it made fucking band practice really difficult because you got to try to get a microphone above that shit. You know.
All right, now
the drummer would have to beat the drums.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to the next thing, which is. We talked outside a little bit, and as soon as I brought it up, I said, "Do you know with your new group that you guys are in now, or you have formed that will probably never play out because you guys keep talking shit, and then like you say that you're doing stuff, and then he brings me a couple things to listen to, but he won't let me play anything on MDR." And so I'm trying to push the issue and like say, "Hey, you got something that I could listen to?"
We did. Actually, Urm
but you guys argued for a while outside about
what was we're going to argue about it right fucking now, too.
Exactly.
So let me ask the question.
Band vote.
Can we hear something from the new...
Yeah, I've got a few things. I've got...
I need one thing.
Okay.
Should we let Brian pick?
Okay, yeah, we'll let Brian choose.
I think that you guys should pick, man. It's your band, man.
I played him what I had, and he was kind of like, on all of it.
Really?
Yeah. After I was like, and I was kind of like,
And the first thing you said, Travis, outside is like, yeah, okay, I'll lose all my musical credibility.
Yeah, right, dude. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. What credibility do I really have?
Well, here's the whole thing, too. We ran up to the gas station to get some beer, and Brian's like, where you guys been? Well, we can't decide what fucking beer to six-pack to split. So that's how it's always kind of been, though. We overthink and go back and forth, you know. And
so, do you want to spin something? Because I need more coffee, and if we spin something, then I can get more coffee.
Yeah, and we can take a little breather.
And we'll talk about it when we come back.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, let's do that.
You can make all the excuses and
do you want to do that acoustic one? Were you all right with that one?
Are you okay with that
one?
I'm
perfectly fine with that one.
I want to play the weirdest, most off the wall one that people wouldn't expect from you. Is that the one?
Well, I've got Bailey, but I've got. And he says,
yeah.
But I've got this acoustic one.
He's the bass player, man.
I know.
And nobody else was on the acoustic.
Your vote only counts for like a quarter.
That's why I remember IPA.
But the thing about the acoustic one is that it is just me and the vocals. Although you did actually engineer the recording.
I did.
So all right. I mean, we can play that one.
What's it called?
The song is called "So Far Above."
So Far Above. When are you guys gonna ever play?
As soon as we decide on a band name.
I thought we had one picked.
Yeah, we had Dead Forms for a little while, but I ran it past a few people and it just didn't stick with them. And I thought, I know why. I know why it isn't sticking with them.
You came up with that name.
I did come up with that name, and it was just a mistake. I mean,
HIV in the positives.
Yeah.
Well, let's spin that thing, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Maybe people out there know what the name of this band is.
We could have it vote.
Yeah. Well, we did not come up, speaking to that point, we did not come up with the name Mariannis. That was our buddy Paul Ferris, Chewy.
Yeah, that's true.
That was Chewy, man.
That's true.
He was like, what about this name? And, he was talking about the Marianas Trench, the Challenger Deep, the deepest place in the ocean. So that's how the name Mariannis came about. We spelled it, kind of phonetically because it's not the same spelling as the Marianas Trench, but that's how that happened. So maybe somebody else out there can draw a better bead on what this band is called.
Okay, we're gonna pro-con this bitch too. So let's play this thing, and we'll talk to you in a minute.
All right.
Cool.
Color me amazed you would come around, finding me abased in the crooked sound. You would only leave to a better place, flying with the angels into uptown. 'Cause I don't believe what I gave, and I don't believe what I made. I traded imperfection on a thrill ride. No, I just believe I need saved. Pain, how it fastens you up, and it hastens you around into places magical. I could only hold you for a short while in the sunny cellar of the inner child. But when I tried to leave, I shut the door. I cast you into shadow as I kill the light. And I don't believe what I gave, and I don't believe what I made. I traded imperfection on a thrill ride, and I just believe I need saved. Pain, how it fastens you up, and it hastens you around into places magical. Will we stand counting the days till the time when we will fly on the grounds of a lie? Ooh, love, you're so far above. It's not the thing that's real, but what you become. Oh, love, you're so far above. It's not the thing you feel, but what you become. All of the colors will run, and it makes you wanna cry as you smear them into place. And all the corrections will fail. They convince you of a lie, that the paint isn't dry. Love is so far above. It's not the thing that's real, but what you become. Oh, love is so far above. It's not the thing that's real, but what you become. Oh, love is so far above. It's not the thing that's real, but what you become. Oh, love is so far above. It's not the thing that's real, but what you become. Oh, love, it's not the thing that's real. Oh, love, you're It's not the same as real. Color me amazed you would come around.
So that was So Far Above, and the name of the band is unknown yet.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, we implore you.
But we actually listened to two versions of that. One was just Travis and an acoustic.
Now when you say we, you don't mean all of
we
us.
did, but
Yes.
we decided to play the full band version,
Right.
You know, because Travis can't make up his mind of what he wants to do, and
Yeah. Basically, what this comes down to is I hate myself and I hate all of you.
so pros, okay,
Yeah.
all pro con this thing. You guys can if you want to,
Yeah.
but for me, I really liked the vocal delivery, and I may have taken a different message from the lyric content than what you may have wanted to convey.
No.
But I know it comes from a deep place, and Travis, you're really like introspective and deep that way. And
It's kind of amazing that I can imitate an extrovert as well as I can because I'm really a by myself to myself person. I'm an adaptive, friendly person. I pretty much, not to say it's like a fake act with me, but I'm telling you, man, if I wanted to just be an insufferable prick all the fucking time, I certainly am capable of it, man. I feel it,
Yeah.
but
I love the vocal delivery. I
Yeah.
liked some of the blues runs you do in there.
Yeah.
I dig that shit.
Me
you know?
too. Always have.
A lot of people are so na 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 na.
And that's it.
There, you know, you did a couple like little trills in there,
Yeah.
and like a little hang note, like a suspended note, and little things that pull you in. And I really liked the delivery of that. I guess my only con for it would be that I'm not playing a solo in it. So,
That's great.
what, you know, you guys you debated a lot about playing that. So what's because it's so different than, you know, we play a lot of metal on
Right.
the show, and you know, that's starkly different than what we're used to from, you know, because you're a real electric guitar oriented, harder edge.
Yeah, and you know, I think all in all, you remember how, you know, he was talking about how into the sound of things we were, like we were really paying attention to the tones. I think all of us have in our mind a certain way that we think it should sound, and that when it doesn't sound that way, it's always just fucking nerve-wracking because you know that you're not giving the impression of it that you really think it should have, you know? Like, it sounds better to my ears in band practice than it does on these recordings.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, and then for me, I'm my bass tone, like when I think of bass tone for me, I want it to sound like a piano. That's the tone in my head. Like if I can get my bass to sound like a piano, then I'm generally happy with it. So to me, like I really like that tone that I'm getting at that time
on that track. Yeah. Well,
you know, but there's other, like the snare tone to me is not something.
It's not there.
Like, but
it's a little loose.
Yeah.
And it's dark.
Yeah.
And like to me, the presence of a snare, it should actually be the only other thing that rivals the natural acoustic presence of the vocal or an acoustic guitar. Like those should all be on par with each other. And it's a very dark. Now, some of that is that we recorded that at what's the name of Pat's studio?
It's Future Apple Tree 2.
Is that what it is? Is that what it's called?
Yep,
It's not called Day Trotter 2.
No.
Called,
It's Pat's studio, Future Apple Tree 2.
Right. And it's a cool studio. Pat has a ton of great gear in there.
Pat Stolley is who he's talking about.
And he engineered it and recorded us using what are decidedly, you know, more indie rock methods. You know, the recording was live.
Minimal miking. Kick drum mic and just like
Room
a drum
mic.
overhead room mic. I mean,
Live PA in the room.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
No headphones. You know what I mean? Stuff like that's really kind of outside of our ken of how we think about the way to make recordings. And it's because Pat he's tuned into a whole different sector of rock. You know, he's tuned into a whole different, you know, way of doing things, you know, and bless his heart for recording us because, you know, it was marvelous that he did it for us.
Yeah.
He did it returning a favor to us, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have to pay him a dime.
Yeah.
So I got since I have like a bass sound aficionado here. Okay, I'm gonna try to pull back like the kind of the '80s fans.
Actually, too.
There was actually some really good tones bass players were getting in the late '80s, early '90s, and metal bands. And I'm gonna play you a bass sound now.
Okay.
Like I said, a lot of '80s dudes will know this bass tone, but when I heard this bass tone, I was like, "That's the fucking bass tone." Now you tell me how you think he's getting this tone. Okay.
I like this. Can I guess already?
I think I know what you're gonna say.
P bass.
Yep.
Through like an SVT or SVT2.
Yep.
Or a GK 800.
Yeah. I was gonna guess an SVT2 and a P bass.
Let's see. Killer fucking tone.
P-bass.
Killer
Yeah.
tone. That's just.
You like that?
Yeah, but I would almost
Kinda high action,
guarantee that's a P bass. See, that's the vocals come on and just kill it for me. Motherfucking bass in the guitar. That kills it for me. But the bass tone had me, man. That was it. That was it. You know?
But P bass, kind of high action.
What was wrong with the vocal on that?
It's that.
It was Stephen Piercy, by the way. It's arcade.
It's that high falsetto. That I can't. It's just not my thing.
It's like I don't. Tell me if you agree with this. To me, it's the same fault that a lot of people find with singers like John Fogerty and Bob Seger. Even though those vocalists are really very different sounding vocalists than a singer like Stephen Piercy, I think it's obvious as you listen to it that it is an affectation that he's putting on his voice. And I just don't like to be fucking lied to.
Yeah,
that is really what it is, man.
And that bass tone is honest.
That's
and then
honest.
the vocals came on, and I'm like, come on, man.
Really?
You know, you're up there. Oh, you know, I
wasn't.
I know, but in my head, that's where I go. I automatically go. Yeah,
Born on the bayou.
Yeah.
What do you think he was going to do?
Well,
Like coming in like, let me tell you the story.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest with you, like, just get rid of it. Like, I'm rough on vocals, and I'm rough on vocals.
All right.
And my wife makes fun of me all the time because I don't listen to vocals. I could give a shit about vocals.
You want all instrumentals?
Yeah.
I'm all right with that.
That's
Killer
one night standards, dude.
All right, one night
so,
standards. Surf band.
When you showed up, you came bearing gifts.
I did.
Now remember, he is a garbage man.
I did.
You found this in a bin or something?
I may or may not have found that.
Okay. All right.
Well, stack of other guitar rigs.
You so graciously brought me this Playboy magazine with some seriously hot chicks in it.
Yeah, seriously hot chicks.
Wait a minute.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's rock singers right there.
And I even thought she had a good porno name too, Sebastian Bach. Too,
Jesus! Don't make fun of my man. See, but this is what's funny is I started opening it up and I didn't know if I was supposed to be flipping my bean around. There's like a 16-year-old girl right there.
Yeah.
See, that's what. Okay, I hear that.
Look at that.
I know, dude. I hear that vocal. I look at that magazine, and I connect the dots, and that's a step away to like Justin Bieber or something.
Yeah.
for me.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
No. Well, and Justin Bieber plays drums. I think he's actually. Have you heard him play drums? He's
drummer,
a decent drummer.
So you're saying this is what happened to the 80s? Stuff like
dude,
this.
that is what killed it.
Man. They turned that fucking shit into Tiger Beat magazine. They figured they could make money on it, and they fucking just beat it into the ground.
Well, actually,
and then a band like Nirvana came around and was like,
when we were on our way here, you mentioned that you found another magazine. Yeah, talk about that magazine.
Yeah, so I found another one of that same era. I don't know, a Rip or something magazine, 92, 91, and it had, total 80s dudes on the front, and in a little corner it just said Nirvana poster inside. So there's nothing about the fucking band.
Right.
And you open it and there's a poster of Nirvana, one of the early posters, and I was like, right there, dude, this was the magazine. The next issue was Nirvana everywhere, and everybody else was fucking gone.
This was the fucking...
Like, they're talking about like Trickster or whatever, all this, or Kid Tracy or whoever.
Yeah.
All these big articles, Nirvana poster inside.
Yeah.
Little did they know that they were all just done after that.
So you didn't care for like the vocals on Skid Row stuff or anything like that. You didn't care for like a sing what about like Queensryche?
I like
or
that I don't even want to say it because you're like, what the fuck? That Silent Lucidity, I like that song, but I grew up. My mom
is it because
listened,
he's singing like this?
Yep, exactly. Like kind of Crash Test Dummy-ish.
Yeah.
But
kind of Elmer
because
Fudd.
he's which
I love that song by the way. Crash Test Dummies. Great song, dude.
But for me, Skid Row, it was that 18 in Life, that song.
Kicks ass.
Yeah. It does kick
I like
ass,
that song.
dude.
Like
it
those
does
were
kick ass.
for me growing up. I was young then. For me, it was those type of songs.
What's
that
interesting is
I liked.
he had nothing to do with that song. There was
Really?
they actually had a different singer at the time. That there's
shit.
a recording out somewhere. You can look it up on YouTube of a different singer singing it before Sebastian Bach got handpicked to be in the assembled
okay.
group.
Well, wasn't he a fucking Canadian imposter of an American rock star? Isn't that
No, he
how
was
it
in
started?
Madam X. He was in a band called Madam X, which was a really strange band. But
Was he from Canada too?
Yeah.
Okay. He's like Celine Dion.
yeah, he's Canadian. But they brought him down here to be in a East Coast band, Skid Row, and Bon Jovi picked. Anyway,
okay.
But that vocal for me, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Is the Sebastian Bach vocal because he does so much stuff, and I like a soaring vocal. Who else is on here? Bret Michaels, horrible. Fuck you, Bret Michaels. And I don't even call that a singer. He's just kind of like a word sayer.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, Nothing to Believe in is a fucking great song.
Yeah, that's if I had to pick.
It gives me chills.
I would. And as a kid growing up, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. That was on there. I mean, terrible stuff like that.
Axl Rose.
I liked Appetite for Destruction a lot. I like Guns N' Roses. I know you hate Guns N' Roses.
I hated that album.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
This is cool for us old 80s guys to hear the opinion of like these young kids that hate all music.
A super fucking cool thing to do with whoever. We did this in Mariannis. We sat and did 100 songs that you were influenced by. Just whatever. Put it on the fucking list. And we all compared notes. We all figured out we all love Boston.
Yeah, we're all huge Boston fans.
Just crazy shit, dude.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to like see where it all leads and how. I mean, just stuff that you were like, man. I was Say, Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson. I had that 45. I realized real quick going through, I like all minor key stuff. Stuff that was real minor key. I like that stuff.
I would say is in a very major key.
But
no,
that song's in minor key for sure. Absolutely, yeah. Now
Shows
the lyrics.
You what I know.
But again, the song "Happy" is in a minor key. I mean, that's the thing that's kind of wild about it.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. To me, I pretty much fucking hate happy music if it's happy through and through. There's got to be something about it that's
You're
realistic.
hiding something.
You're hiding something. Yeah.
And that's with the vocals.
Come on,
and stuff
man.
for
You
me.
guys can't like clean the house listening to Girls Just Want to Have Fun or something.
But the lyrics to that song are fucking dark, dude.
Yeah.
The lyrics to that song, super happy sounding song, dark fucking lyrics. Same with like "So Lonely" by The Police.
Yeah.
Super happy, up sounding song. Depressing fucking lyrics. It's amazing.
And get back, like Girls Just Want to Have Fun. To me, that's like there's no lies. They know what they're saying and what they're doing, and that whole song of how that's like straight up pop. Here's a pop thing. To me, like that 80s. Here's killer bass tone, fucking cool guitar tone, and here's a dude singing all falsetto up high like that, and I'm like, no, man, why? I mean, that's just to me is like it's just a beefier vocal. Fuck, that's it, dude. To me. That's where the lie comes in, is when you hear that vocal. Like, dude, if you just went something more rugged, and it's like Phil Anselmo, Pantera, that shit kind of came through. That's why that stuff was huge, because guys were like, holy fuck, you got that shredder
The metal finally got balls.
Dude. The
metal finally got a huge cock.
But the Enigma, though.
By the way, I had to throw penis in there because we always have to mention penis.
Yeah, we have
or say
cocks
dick
and
or
balls.
something on every episode.
Balls and dicks.
No,
but the Enigma are guys like Brian Johnson and Rob Halford. Somehow those guys had a way of doing their affectations that they were early enough in the game that they were kind of blazing trail with it. You didn't feel like they were doing something dishonest. There's no reason why they would go in that direction except because that's really where they were coming from. But guys that were later, like Stephen Pearcy and dudes like that, it was obviously a put on.
Well, yeah,
from the get-go.
from the get-go. But you had like even looking at some of these magazines, all the makeup,
and I love the first Rat album.
All the makeup and all the get up and that whole deal too. So you have that big costume stuff going on, and then you have this. So to me, it was just so.
See, that's where it is for me, man. If I see in a rock band, I want to go on vacation. I want to see something that I ain't got the balls to do.
Yeah.
I want to see a show.
Yeah, I was going to say
I came from the whole school of Kiss. You know what I mean? I was 7 when Kiss struck. You know, and the Destroyer. I was like, this is superheroes with guitars.
Yeah.
And you know, then
entertainment, pure
then
entertainment.
The whole 80s thing was after that, and everybody was like, dude, you wouldn't dress like that to go to the mall. You know, I always fantasized like, what if I was I wish I was Sebastian Bach. I'd go to school with my long ass hair and my fucking ripped jeans and be like, fuck you, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? You thought it was tough.
Yeah. Remember the dude had the pierced nose and the chain? Remember that poster?
That looked tough.
Yeah.
To me. And you're talking about dude right here with the chain.
Yeah, there it is.
It goes from his nose to his nipple.
Oh my God, that's where it goes, to his nipple.
So,
oh my God,
Rachel Bolin.
Rachel
Isn't that the dude's name?
Yeah. See, I thought that shit was tough. I was like, that, you know, I was...
Yeah, but
I always thought that if I looked like that, I'd
little
be cool
did you know
that
the fucking
it's
super shredder vegan fucking skinny as a rail kid wearing his sister's jeans that's fucking 3 years into fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu is gonna lay waste to any of these bruisers or any of these fucking girly.
Well, it's so funny with the leather and all that stuff too. Wasn't that always just like, you know?
Who are you talking about there?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just making a bunch of nonsense.
Kurt Cobain was into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, you know, no, he wasn't. But I mean, at the same time, just the whole image of tough guy is just shattered. It's not this big dude anymore.
No,
now little guys will just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
It's because of what they know, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Not an image.
Well, I had it's interesting. I got a message today from a listener that it's Mick Clark, and he just asked me, "Hey Brian, what do you think of this song?" It's like it was like Billy Thorpe, "Children of the Sun." I'm like, why in the fuck would you care what I think of that song? But I love that song.
I fucking love that song too.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant song.
That's so funny, dude.
I can do without the end of it, but the whole beginning of it is amazing.
Cool as shit.
Dude.
See,
cool.
that's what's great is just that's the cool thing about this show, man, is people just fucking, hey, what do you think of this? What do you everybody just partakes in it. You know, that's what's cool, you know. Just I'm gonna run on a tangent. Just even the show, you know, the Allstar Jam. Dude, that was fucking awesome. I mean, you had all these guys coming together. I mean, you know, I'm standing there with my wife and I'm like, you know, this is the music scene. Like, this is it. I mean, this is, you know, the Quad Cities has all these separated little genres and everybody's doing something here and here. That was a time when fucking people got together and shit, and it's because of Brian. You know, I mean, you got people together that wouldn't normally get together. You know, and
but when you
fucking
now we can all go back to hating each other. It's amazing.
But and that's
it didn't last long either. I'm pretty sure I gave out about 28 T-shirts, and I've got like 2 people that took pictures of them, like supporting, man. You know what I mean? Like, I love that shit, but like, where's the other 24 shirts?
But
under their bed.
I'm saying you brokered a peace, however short-lived.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you send pictures of you in your shirt, I'm definitely gonna like share it on my shit, and I might even touch myself to it. But anyway.
But that, you know, and that's what's cool about this show. You know, I know it's totally off subject with, you know, people just, you know, you feel part of it, you know, like, oh, and we start talking about things and you have a common connection, and then it's like,
it's a small club, but man, everybody gets into it. It's cool.
My parents listen to the show, and they call me up every time I mention them. They're always like, "What are you doing telling people that I'm black?" Like, you're doing it right fucking now, Mom. So anyway,
shit.
But that was, I gotta say, man, that was an awesome time. Just,
cool,
dude,
man.
The bands just fucking, dude, and
it was fun.
Like the way it was put together. I was just like, yep, I wanted to see that. You know, that was awesome. Denver Envoy, dude. Really? Like, yep. I needed that. You know, it's just awesome. You know,
amazing.
I told my wife, this was the only time I heard Kiss and I liked it. When you guys were up there, I'm not a Kiss fan. That wasn't my thing. You know, and hearing Dettel and you guys, I was just like, this is it. I like Kiss right now. This is cool.
Each band was kind of celebrating what it is that they're averages as members, you know, and then you might have a guy that wouldn't normally play the stuff, you know, they're like Steve Krug when he was playing bass, and I was like, fuck, he's playing metal, you know? And he's like, of course, I love metal,
guess what song he picked,
and he did great,
guess what song he picked,
Judas
Priest.
I was gonna say, and he picked the Judas Priest song.
He was the one who picked the Judas Priest song.
Yeah, that was so much fun, man.
Yeah,
so fun,
very fun, very.
But when you talk about the music scene, you know, I mean, there's so many things that get left out, like Ellis Kell.
Yes.
You know, go
Day Trotter.
Right. I mean, all these things that I don't really include on the show, and I guess it's not because I don't feel like they're a part of it. It's just like I don't think that they'd even want to be mentioned on this. You know, I guess I don't know. I mean, but I would love to have Ellis Kell on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Terry Hansen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's what is
Don
it?
Gustafson.
Scott Morshauser.
Scott Morshauser.
That'd be,
Anyway, he also this Mick Clark. He was in it's not the Funktastic Five, but shit.
Stupefunk?
No, what's the other band?
Is there another one with funk in the title?
Yeah, there's something else with the funk in the.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know either.
I don't know.
So he was in a local band. It was a pretty popular band, I think, and he got fired because he didn't. Okay, so this band that he was in, if you'd missed a practice before the gig, then you didn't get your full pay.
Oh.
And to that, I say,
paid?
not my fucking band, because you try to take pay away from me at a gig because I didn't make practice because something came up with it.
Oh, I've seen that face you make when the money's fucked up.
I guess I've never played in a cover band, so I don't know what pay is, really.
Yeah,
you know, that'd be awesome.
I'm just saying, man, you know, what, the other band gets more, you know, the other members get more
because you were there. Right.
It's like, you know,
that's
to me, I'll just be honest about cover bands. Okay, this is the way I've always seen it. If you need to practice anymore, then you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yes.
I mean, learning the songs, of course you're going to have to get together. I'll tell you a story. I played in Lynn Allen for an outside show opening for Bad Company, and they were playing all originals, and it was a backlog of old stuff. I mean, we picked from just, you know, old stuff. Anyway, I asked Bill, I kept saying, dude, we need to rehearse. And he's like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We need to rehearse, dude.
Yeah.
I'm learning my shit. Yeah. I'm in my bedroom learning my shit. And then we get on the tour bus that he had that drove to the show. Yeah. And we're on the tour bus. He goes, I suppose we probably should go over this. And, and so he throws a phone book at Mark, and Mark's got a couple sticks, and we're sitting there like, I've got like a guitar not plugged in. That's all I have. And he's like, and we're strumming through it all quiet. And I'm like, I guess this is really professional. Actually, that's more professional because
it is.
Once you get it, if you're a pro, you should have it.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
Like the Allstar Jam, Wes was telling me they just figured out the songs and they went up there and killed it. So exactly.
Yeah, and I had to show Bill what guitar parts, parts to play under the solo because he's used to doing, so it's like this, Bill. You played it. You wrote it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fucking remember that shit.
Did you guys go up and kill it then too?
I thought we did. I mean, I was, I got to be honest. That was a big honor for me. I've always wanted to play all original stuff with Bill.
That's cool.
I don't want to play.
Cool.
I don't want to play Jesse's Girl with him as much.
Yeah.
But the Lynn Allen music, when we were playing straight through all original stuff of his, I wanted to honor it with playing the solos as close to what they recorded. And I was thinking of how I'd want to hear it if I was listening. I would want to hear.
That's what you should do. That's what you should do.
But I threw in some of my own stuff here and there when I thought, because don't get me wrong, I mean, some of the solos, and I'm sorry all the guys that were on them records, but some of them solos needed a little bit more spice.
Something a little more current.
Some of them had too much spice. I couldn't figure the spice out.
It's like cardamom or marjoram or what the fuck is this?
I don't know, but get it out of here.
So, but no, that was a really good time to play on the big stage, and there was a ton of people there, and I just wanted to. The only thing I didn't like is, and I'm sorry if I'm going off on a tangent.
No, you barely talked this episode.
I know. You
Basically,
get Travis and I together, and it turns into music round again.
The only thing I didn't understand is Bill, really set it up kind of weird, which is, I mean, as far as what you're looking at from the audience, okay? To me, if you have you have a lead guitar player, a singer, a bass player, and a drummer, how do you think the band should be set up on stage?
Okay, singer's in the middle with his guitar. And then you sort of haggle about whether the other guitar player or the bass player is on the left or right.
Easy, right?
And then the drums
side, that's me.
Easy.
And drums are back. Yeah.
Drums in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So, no, wrong. So what Bill did was he wanted the other 2/3 of the stage. So his mic wasn't center. It was just kind of in between center and stage right. So that's his whole side. And then he put the bass player and the lead guitar player stacked on one side. Like I would be 2 steps ahead in front of Hal.
Interesting.
And kind of set back into that last quarter of the stage.
And the bass player is in the back
I
of the
was
bus,
totally ready to fucking do it Dokken style. Lynch on one side has his own side of the stage and the singer in the middle. And then, but the way he set it up, I was like, really? You want me to stand back
Why
here?
What do you
like
have?
you're a backing player or something?
Kind kind of like that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
have
kinda
He's
how I
James
felt.
Brown, and you're.
That's kind of how I felt.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was like,
Gotcha.
this could look so much cooler. I know Bill's awesome,
Yeah.
but it would look like a rock band.
Yeah.
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 Spread out like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he was adamant. Nope, you're right there. This is how I do it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
do you to this day? Do you think he was right?
No, I think it was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Because-
have rather have had. Well, for me, I
Yeah.
mean, for him, he might. That's
This
exactly
is-
the way I
this-
wanted it.
This is
well,
how I
and,
want-
And
yeah.
see, this is my point as an audience member who notices such things. My first take on that would be like, "Yep, I see why this is the way it is."
Right. Yeah.
You know, my I would probably go down kind of a notch of respect for that because I would see the desire for the spotlight. You know what I mean?
Solo show.
Well,
my
that's what I
backing
mean.
band.
He
Yeah,
allowed
Solo
me.
show,
He
my
allowed
backing
me to
band.
come out stage center to play solos.
Right. Yeah.
But then to return back to standing by the bass player.
It makes me think of. It makes me think of. It makes me think of those stories like Derek St. Holmes would tell. About touring with Nugent. Like the things that he wasn't allowed to do on stage. He wasn't allowed to banter between songs. He was not allowed to smile too big. He was not
the
allowed
banter
to
drives me
sing
crazy.
too good. He wasn't allowed to.
You know what?
Yeah.
This show is teeters so much on like personal things. If
Yeah.
I was some famous guy, if I was Joe Rogan or whatever with his pocket, he don't give a shit who he talks about because he's never going to confront them.
Yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
is, we live amongst all these
sure.
musicians that
Yeah.
we talk about.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
when we say things, we got to be able to but
yeah,
I want the show. I got to be honest too.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hurt
yeah.
nobody's feelings
No, exactly.
or threaten their
But my
professional
point-
life or
my
any of
point
that
is
shit. But
about
I mean,
the
that's
Bill-
what I think, though. You know
But
what I
my
mean?
thing about the Bill thing is I have admiration for the guy. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
me
always
too.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Me
always
too,
been a
dude. Yeah.
devout,
Yeah.
loyal
Yeah.
person to him.
Yeah.
But doing that, and putting me there was his design. Now,
Yeah.
at one point before that, I was in Lynn Allen doing the cover shows with him right when Murph quit the band.
Oh, sure.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Wow.
So when he quit, Bill was like, I got to find another guitar player. He threw me in there, and I was at the time where I was going to put it on. I thought he wanted Eddie Van Halen.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, man, because
I'm the gun, I'm the new gun.
I remember
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
Lynn Allen thinking, man, Murph just stands back there, one
Yeah.
foot on the other, doesn't
Yeah.
really react to anything, doesn't say anything
Yeah.
to Mike. God, lame.
Brian's like bringing
And I
out
realized
extra
that
like
that's-
ego ramps and
that's
shit
the
to go
fucking-
out.
That's
Yeah.
the gig.
That's the gig,
dude.
Just
And when I
hang
got
back.
put in there, then I'm out there, foot up on the monitor,
Yeah.
playing, tapping that,
Yeah.
and then sometimes saying stuff in the mic and
Yeah.
whatever. And I remember the phone call between me and Bill the next day.
Yeah.
Was, and this is personal stuff, but I'll say it anyway. It's the truth. Nothing against Bill, like I said, but he just went like, okay, so if you want to do this, you have to understand that you can't put your foot up on the monitor. You
Yeah.
can't. I don't want you standing with. And he said this. I don't want you standing with your feet more than 2 feet apart. When I remember
Yeah.
that sticking in my head,
Yeah.
I was like. He might have just said it and not even remembered it.
No
but I was
rock,
like, that's
no
stuck
rock
in my head.
stance 101.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And he
yeah.
said, and you don't talk in the mic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Did he
he's-
even give you my? Oh, it's a sing. You're singing back. Yeah.
So
yeah, yeah.
and I got it at that moment. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you don't want to. You don't want
Yeah.
like a guy that's going to be out there trying to add to the show. You want a guy that's going to be out there that lets you do the show, and
Yes.
And so we just both agreed. It wasn't a mad thing. He's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
he's like, can you do that? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be happy like that.
Well,
Yep.
and I think there's some there's some generation things too. Like for me, that's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm 35. I'm not. Super young, super old. I'm right in that in between. Like. To me, bands always, everybody has an even thing, an even deal. It
Right.
doesn't like to be like, no, you can't stand. Dud wearing his ball cap and drinking beer. Yeah, I'd say stuff to him, but it was
this
like,
is this
You
is
never
a little.
fucking threw it off his head.
you have
Wait a
to
minute.
do this and
But
this
this isn't the same animal though.
No, that's
It's
exactly.
the Billy Piper show.
Yes,
and
yes.
knowing.
You're a hired gun,
To
essentially.
me, I was trying to impress him.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that me doing all these things was going to make him go, hell yeah.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? This adds to the show, but what it does is it distracts from his show.
Yes.
So, that's kind of where that was,
Yeah,
and I understand
yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
I mean, if he ever said, you want, do it again, I'd know, okay, I'll go get,
You got
just
tape
always-
measure. You put your measure.
But it just
right.
always,
Yeah.
but it just always begs the question, I'll put it like this, man. Like, I've poured all this effort into writing certain songs, right? And I think to myself, yeah, this is it right here, right? And then there's this other song. It's just kind of a throwaway, collaborative effort. No, it's kind of Frankenstein together, kind of shitty, whatever. And people ignore the thing that I thought was the good thing and love the thing that was the throwaway thing. Yeah. The question is, can a person come to terms with the fact that as far as the audience is concerned, they have absolutely no idea what the best thing is as far as the audience is concerned? You have ideas about it, but there are times when you have to be willing to allow people to do things that maybe scare you or maybe make you think that the spotlight's going to come off you, but it'll end up making a better show. Maybe you did make a better show, but because it was not the show that he wanted, he was not willing to allow the show to be any better than the show that he wanted.
It doesn't matter. If that's what he wanted for that, and that's his deal, that's his deal.
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, I mean...
But it's just questionable to me. It's just questionable to me.
Yeah, and I hear you too. It's like, well, it could be this, but that's... To me, it sounds like, this isn't like a band where we all have an even take in it. Hired gun scenario.
Sure.
So you're a hired gun scenario. I'm going to pay you. You need to do this. I'm your boss. This is how it works. Or if it is a band where everybody's got equal share and the whole deal, then I could see, but that's what works for him.
Why not
that's what works for him,
Then why not go up with a fucking backing track or something? You know what I mean?
Well,
you start getting toward that territory.
Backing band.
They are. They're a backing track.
I've got to say, the man has seen me play live before he asked me to be in in Lynn Allen.
He knew what you were about.
He knew what Brian Miner did, and he didn't give me the, hey, by the way, Brian,
Tony Ford, dial it down.
Yeah, because
maybe he just thought you'd know.
By him asking me, I thought he wanted everything that came with
that.
me.
Right.
So I'm showing up to the gig with my pleather pants and
he's like, no. What I want is an Alesis SR16 with a pulse.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I want.
Exactly.
That the audience can make believe is alive because they fucking have cardiovascular functions.
That's so fun. And I just picture you going out there and just going for it.
Yeah.
Woo! And just like, here I am. And he's just like, oh boy.
Grumble.
We're going to have to talk about this later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shit's got to change around here.
Somewhere, in the middle of my freaking, I call it the Mark Schruck pose. And I'm sorry, Mark, but I love you, guy. But
Mark Schruck pose.
I remember the guitar contest. He was the only one that went to his knee and put one leg way out and was fucking like this. And me and my friend were like, we've dubbed that the Mark Schruck pose. So anytime we see that, it's the Mark Schruck pose.
Now, did he
and
that
we
way?
call it, and when we get into it like that and we start freaking out like I did with Lynn Allen, I said, man, I was totally Mark Schrupping it. And I got fired, man.
I got fired for it.
But here's my point, though. As much as I question it, I think Billy was right.
Oh yeah, I mean,
he was right. He was right to tell you not to do that dumb shit.
That's what I mean.
I'm not saying that Billy wasn't right.
Yeah.
Well, he was right to not let you do dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
He's not wrong.
Right.
Yeah. He's just like,
I was in the moment, man. You know what I mean?
It's not
I finally got a gig, man.
That's awesome.
Well, let me just fuck it all up.
Yeah.
This is gonna be sweeter than a Jolly Rancher. Fucking idiot.
That's what I love about this show, man.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else to say?
About that or everything?
Or everything. 'Cause I'm about to wrap this bitch
Too
up.
much. There's too much to say.
There's just so much.
Yeah. About the podcast that we're doing here. We talked on a break that I asked you.
Yeah.
Because people might not know, but I get all balled up about this kind of shit just because I really love doing it, and I'd hate for it to be something that gets ignored.
Yeah.
Because I think we have something cool as fuck here,
Yeah.
And I just wish that people would be exposed to it and come into it with an open mind instead of a competition thing.
Well, maybe we need to expose ourselves to people.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I guess to me too.
But I asked you. I'm sorry. I asked you what it is about MDR that you think most people are attracted to, and I liked the answer that you gave. And it's kind of like the club motto, it's like, it's like, what'd you describe it as?
That's the thing. Everybody gets along, I don't know. For me, it's just like the whole hanging out and just common bond talking. You're meeting people that you don't normally meet or would hear. And everybody has shit in common, man. They all play. They all know. It's just like everybody's going through the same shit.
I really want to keep my finger on that because the thing is, this podcast has gone through a lot of changes. We thought we had to play like 10 different songs per episode to get people to listen to it, and then we realized that that's not why people are listening.
Yeah.
And then we went through the whole I mean, 97X has talked to us about going on there, and then changing this to like a more corporate thing, and we're kind of keeping it this way. There's all kinds of anyway. Yeah, and now we're just talking.
Yeah.
And we're kind of getting along with that. And I kind of shrieked when we did that because I was afraid that people wouldn't watch, but we still got the views. And so I'm thinking,
that's my favorite
I want to make
part,
sure what is it that people like, because if it's the same thing that I like about it, then I'm going to feel really good about it.
Yeah.
Then I can really open up and feel confident about what we're doing.
It's the stories, and I'm probably the most boring one so far. You don't have Daniel on here talking about Cliff Burton.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
But and that's exactly. I think it's just the shooting the shit and listening and just you learning about people and what they're doing and what's going on, and that there's a bunch of dudes on here growing up that I never got to meet, but I know of them, or I briefly through the music store that I get to learn a whole bunch about them, and I'm like, that's fucking cool, and their background and their history, that's the fascinating. It's kind of like that behind the music kind of thing, you just really start seeing, but it's like, to me, like the true Midwest fashion of like, just fucking play it where it lays and just say whatever, and nothing's really hidden and there's no fucking big falsetto vocals. It's the big beefy bass tone. The show is the big beefy bass tone. Like, honest, here it is.
Oh man, you've gone into the realm of metaphor.
I have. I know. Damn it. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just hoping that whatever it is that's cool about this, because it seems to be cool to a lot of people. I mean, the people that like it really, really, really like it.
Yeah.
They're
I look
like,
forward to it all the time.
Fucking awesome. And I'm like, well, what is it about it that's awesome?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, like cool
things
and stuff.
But anyway, it's you can't really. I mean, and that's the thing, man. It's hard to pinpoint things that
Well, I hope it's the same thing that I like about it, which is just what we just did.
Yeah.
Right.
Why is pizza delicious?
And the last episode we did, believe it or not, I couldn't sponsor it on Facebook because the only way that I can get the show to people is to fucking pay money to make sure it comes up in the newsfeed all the time. Okay. And I know that there's people that are tired of seeing it every fucking day that they get on their Facebook because you're going to see it because I'm going to sponsor it because I got to get the word out, right? Yeah. Because it's hard to say, because 1 out of 20 people might like to listen to this. It's then you have to talk to 10,000 people to get your 500 listeners.
Sure.
So, but anyway, this last time I'm sorry.
I was going to say, not to toot my own horn, but wasn't my entire point the last episode that public speech has different ramifications than private speech? And the fact that you couldn't fucking sponsor that episode was related to not what we were talking about, but because we were trying to talk about it in public. Okay. And then you can't control it.
Well, I was going to say, the reason why that you didn't see the last episode, and I hope that you'd go back and find it, but...
I just go to your little... I just go to the page and look at update videos. I'm not on Facebook.
So, but they wouldn't let us sponsor it because I said in the title... Bill, we talk about Bill Cosby, rebel flags, and
penis envy.
Penis envy.
And they said that was offensive, and you can't show any kind of opinion on things that are offensive like that. Like no personal characteristics can be listed in your title.
Right.
Really.
So huge penis, or
Confederate flag, or Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's a trigger now.
Yep. I emailed them and said, "What exactly is it that's offensive? What do I need to change?" And then I just changed it to episode 44. I can't explain it, or I can't describe it. That's it. And they still said, "Nope, can't sponsor that."
We already know
because we already know.
We already know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
So anyway, that sucked. So this one, I'll just put up, episode 45.
Nothing.
So sorry, there's going to be some, offensive stuff in our podcast probably, and I can't list it on the description. So just trust us.
Yeah,
just
go with it.
We'll offend you.
Yeah,
but man, Chris, it was awesome having you on.
Dude. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
I appreciate it, man.
As always, brother, man.
Travie, it was awesome.
I love you, pal.
Oh, yes. And you came on real with the MGR shirt, too.
I did.
Like
That's
that.
right, man.
A lot of memories there.
MGR.
MGR. That's right, MGR.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you always got just little wispies peeking out. Your little Chester, the little wispies.
Little package.
Yeah. All you need is just a little gold chain and a medallion. Sell me a used car.
Yep. Detachable face CD player.
Detachable face CD player.
Birkenstocks.
Yeah. Jesus.
Fish CD.
Yeah.
Right.
That was our reference to Dave Matthews Band
Yeah, that's
fans.
right.
They'd have Jeeps with detachable face CD players, Birkenstocks, and a fish CD in the fucking CD player. And they were referred to Dave Matthews as Dave.
Dave. That's right. Hey, did you go to the Dave show?
Yeah.
Dude, check it out, man.
Dave.
I got the set list from the Dave show.
Yeah.
Now I wrote it down myself.
Dave.
I know how to write now.
Yeah.
You know, when you say that, I immediately think of Diamond David Lee Roth.
That's right.
That's what I think of.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
If you say Dave, I'm
Yeah.
like, yep, Dave Lee Roth. That's what he's talking about. Yep.
Exactly.
All Dave, all night. We know what you need.
Right. So, anyway, episode 45 of Minor Disturbance Radio. Like I said, click like, share this son of a bitch with your friends that you think might dig it. I know it's hard to sit and listen to anything for more than an hour without switching it to porn or something, but anyway, yeah, I just want everybody to comment and tell us what you think of the show. I mean, tell us what you like about it, why you watch it, if you want, if you don't, because a lot of people want to hide in anonymity too.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't really want to put my face out there, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Cool.
I can do this all goddamn night.
That's awesome.
All right, man.
That's awesome.
Oh shit! I said.